You're listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John.
Hey folks, welcome back to Guitar Talk. I'm Dave.
I'm John.
And this is 56. We've been saying nothing for 56 episodes and you've tuned in religiously. We love you folks. Actually, we have some interesting things to talk about today.
It is an interesting week. This is going to be a gear-centric episode, I think.
Yeah. So I played a gig on last Saturday night. Nope. Saturday I played an acoustic gig. Friday I played my electric gig. I took the night train out again.
Oh, okay.
Because the Marshall was too mid-rangey. And I have to say, have I ever mentioned I don't care for the sound of Marshalls? Oh, yeah, I have, haven't I?
You just keep buying them.
That's the problem, folks. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't care for them. I hear it, and I'm like, man, that sounds like a Marshall. How come I don't like it? Oh, yeah, because I don't like Marshalls. I just don't care for the sound. I even appreciate the Mesa distortion better. Like, I like that sound. But I'll tell you what my favorite sound is a Fender clean amp with some type of pedal. It's my favorite. I like it better than even the amp distortion. You give me a clean Fender and the Duelist and the Rock Box boiling point, and I'm happy as a pig in shite.
Well, alrighty then.
Now, I say shite because I'm trying to keep the language a little cleaner, folks. This podcast is going to be going to iTunes, Spotify, and there's one more podcast place, maybe Google. No, Alexa, TuneIn, whatever the hell that is. Anyways, so we're trying to get the podcast out there. So Google I'm going to clean it up and not say shit, but I'm going to say shite.
It's reasonable.
Anywho, so
this is just random, but this morning my kid was throwing a fit, my 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm pissed out."
Right. That's great.
Hasn't quite figured out exactly how to say it.
Right.
Oh, it was fantastic. Anyway,
so I know you and I have acknowledged that we both have seen the new series of Stratocaster, and
you're already off of your. I had a gig on Saturday.
I just wanted to say I hate the Marshall, and I like my. I like the night train work better.
Okay, got it.
Now I have 2 amps to sell.
Right. It looks like you've got 1 cabinet, 2 heads. Yeah, you've got a bunch of amps to sell.
Yeah.
My address is 555. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Brady Bunch phone number.
Yeah. So the new Fender Ultra. What's it called? Ultra series?
I think it's the Ultra series.
Didn't they have in like the late 80s, early 90s the Ultra Strats? Didn't they already use that name once?
I have no idea.
I think they did. I think that's the guitar the guy from King's X used to play. The Strat, the Ultra Strat or Strat Ultra or whatever.
To have a tagline by some marketing dickhead that says, "You'll never play Fender the same way again." Why? Am I going to be covered in feces and urine? What is the deal? The guitar already existed. They went backwards. They're like, this is the future of Fender.
Yeah. It's got a different contour effectively on the back and the heel.
D shape. So they added a contour that's what I will say unnecessary.
How can you ever play a guitar with a different contour the same again?
Right. Oh, it's unbelievable. Your mind will be blown. So they put this contour in that nobody was asking for in a Strat. Now, some modern companies put a contour in there, like the Silver Sky has that contour. Big fucking deal. Who cares? I've never played a Strat and was like, God, I wish I had higher access. No, I can reach every fret just fine.
Right. It's not difficult on a Strat.
Right. And so then it's like, let's take a look at the features. 10 to 14 radius. Great job. Finally. What the fuck took you so long? A D neck shape. Excellent. So you're adding some shoulder and you're not offering the same old C. Excellent. Great. I can't wait for more changes. The same old fucking frets.
Right. Medium, jumbo, soft nickel.
The S1's shitty switching with the crappy Sumerian Cobalt pickups.
Mm.
And it's like they try to put lipstick on a pig. That's all it is.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's so boring to talk about. It's just the same. They do it every 3 years.
This is the upgrade from the Elite,
I
where
know,
they
but
took out the only feature that was fucking good on the whole Elite guitar was that spoke wheel for the truss rod. They got rid of that.
They just, I don't know. I kind of feel like they just do the same thing every 3 years. So the American Standard, no, it's the American Series. No, it's the American Professional. No, it's the American Standard again. Now it's going to be the American Professional again. And it's like, oh, for God's sake, what'd you do different?
Right.
Oh, well, this one's got the Custom Shop Fat 50s pickups in it. How are they different from the last ones? Was wound by Jose.
Right. So anyway, so that was like the big disappointment. I thought I was getting several messages from people. Have you checked out the new Fender line? Have you checked it out? Have you checked it out? And I thought like, oh, it's going to be something where people seem to be asking me, so maybe there's a buzz. No, it's horrible. It's useless.
It's just more vanilla.
But then
the colors aren't. Yeah, getting to the colors colors are kind of odd. They
renamed.
Yeah, they renamed a bunch of them, and then they didn't really throw in any like classic favorites that people would love to see in like their standard line. They threw in I feel like maybe they did a new blue that nobody was asking for.
Right. Never.
And then everything else was like a renaming of sorts. They did Montego. What was Montego Black called this time?
Texas T.
Okay. And then there was Sienna Burst.
Yes, which they called Red Something Burst.
Okay. Then there was a 3-tone Sunburst that's not actually transparent to the wood, but it's like metallic paint burst finish.
Right.
Which is unusual, but they have done it before.
Ultra Burst, they called it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the first time for them on that particular one. And then they replaced the what did they used to call it? Olympic Pearl? What did they call? Yeah. So now
is it Arctic Pearl now? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they like used.
I thought it was called White Pearl before.
I don't honestly know.
Well, just Pearl.
I think it's a lighter shade now. It's a paler shade of white.
On the small kids guitar, they used to have the color Mini Pearl.
Oh, for God's sake. That's funny. That's a good one.
But you couldn't remove the price tag off the guitar.
Ridiculous.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's not exciting. I don't know what to say.
Somebody picked up the Mini Pearl guitar and they were like, "What chord should I play?" And I'm like, "I don't know. How's D?"
I think every guitar manufacturer needs to start using what they call good stuff. That neck finish that they call good stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's the oil and wax stuff that they use on like the back of the Ernie Ball necks.
Oh, well, Ernie Ball stuff feels great.
Just yeah, I mean, I don't care for the fact that Ernie Ball consistently uses that 1 5/8 inch nut.
It sucks.
Right, but
so does Fender.
But the wood, the back of the neck, feels better than any other production guitar you can get. And Friedman uses it on the back of his guitars. And so I was screwing around with a few of them, and it was like, this feels great. This is really something. And was over my pal's house the other night, my other guitar player. He's got a Fender Paisley guitar, the Brad Paisley guitar.
Sure.
Great guitar for what it is, big fat neck, lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you compare those two necks side by side, that Fender neck feels awful compared to the good stuff neck. And I'm not talking about the quality of the build, just the finish. More people should use that finish. It's really good.
I think Fender's a slow mover. They don't understand, like, they're coming out with a series called the Ultra Series. So this is not in lieu of the American Standard Series. This is a separate series. They should have done far more interesting things, far more interesting colors. Why isn't there Sonic Blue or something from that they just don't offer in their regular line? Or one of my favorite, Candy Green, which
Mm-hmm.
they only did on the Eric Clapton Strat from the like late '80s, early '90s. I love that Candy Green.
Dude,
Nope,
Candy Green, Candy Apple Red, and Sonic Blue or Daphne Blue or something like that would be such a welcome color
yeah,
in that series, and they just never do it. For 20 straight years, they've never offered it.
or even a shell pink.
Yeah,
People like shell pink,
it'd be really
and
cool.
yeah, and they don't offer it. Instead, they're renaming the same old shitbag colors. Um, yeah, they always do the same thing. They want a burst, they want a black, they want a red, and they want a white.
You know,
Some form of it every time. And then that Cobra blue, it's like, listen, if that blue was good on its own, Carroll Shelby would have painted his car solid blue, but he didn't. He put the 2 white stripes up against it because that's what made it look cool.
you want a stripe on that guitar.
I want 2 stripes. I want the Shelby stripes. If you're going to call it Cobra blue, I want the whole Shelby package.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that was looking for that.
No, no one is. I wasn't looking for it either. I wouldn't buy it, but at least it would look cool.
Yeah.
They did racing stripes once on the Strat. I don't know if you remember, but they put them here, like sideways.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Which was
I've
the
seen them before.
dumbest thing. It should go straight like the line of the neck. That's the line the guitar takes. This
Right.
thing, the whole idea of the stripes is to make it look like more aerodynamic, not to make it look like a turd crossing a fucking street. It looks stupid.
They probably wanted like, the pickguard is gonna, cut off most of the stripes, so we want to show it by putting it up here away from the pickguard. But logically, it's not a great move because it doesn't look good. Second of all, the moment you start playing the guitar, they disappear behind your arm.
It doesn't matter. It's just they don't have any marketing savvy or sense. It just didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so I was completely disappointed about that. So then I was watching a video about it was Anderton's music.
Ooh, the Chappers and the Captain.
It was Chappers and Pete.
Ah,
And I enjoy the antics every now and then. I think they're fun. I do take issue with some of the stuff they do, which is like the hobnobbing, over the top, the fun they have with PRS. So they went to like some PRS thing and they bought 3. They picked out the flame woods for this, for the Modern Eagle.
Mm.
Then they made the guitars out of these woods. First, they were making a big deal about the finish. I mean, about the flame. And you would figure that they would go and do some colors that accentuate the flame. Instead, it took away from the flame.
What'd
And
they
they
do?
charged, like a dark blue. It just was weird colors. These heavy blues with the neck was a dark blue too in the back. They tinted it. They did one that was kind of in a yellow that was not great. It was like a orangish yellow. It wasn't great, wasn't bad. But they want $9,000 for these things.
So
For a PRS. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, folks. If you're paying $9,000 for a guitar, yeah. I mean, the appointment should be a little bit nicer than a maple neck with a fucking rosewood board. You know what I mean?
I do
I
personally.
mean, if you make like a modern eagle, get the flame looking gorgeous and accentuate it. Make it look good with the paint to make the thing jump. Then on the neck, put like a wenge with an ebony board, something to make people go, wow, what the hell is that? That's gorgeous. This thing was like, if you go to you guys can look it up. It's on Anderton's. I thought for $9,000, I was like, I won't. If somebody said to me you could take all 3 guitars for $9,000, my response is pass. It's
Well,
not e-
I hear you. The whole thing, like a $9,000 guitar that's that's primary feature is a relatively common wood. It's kind of, I don't know. It's not that exciting because of the exotic woods, I would say flame maple is easily the most common
Yeah.
in the
I mean,
guitar world.
yeah, I mean, it's and then to make it like flame, but then to put such a dark finish on it, a dark candy finish. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm.
I just didn't get it. And then, I think to myself, it's funny. I see like stores that, like store space for sale, for
Mhm.
lease. I mean, I see a lot of store space for lease, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool place for a guitar shop. And then I thought, if I had my own guitar shop, what would I carry? Because what would you carry? And I thought, I would be like the working man's guitar shop, towards the higher end, but still the working man's shop. Like, I would bring in amps like vintage sound amps. I would bring in Morgan, stuff that have like certain amount of appeal, that are not like if Fender would do it, I would just do the custom shop, but I would pick the pieces and have more of a say over it, because I can't let them,
Yeah.
because otherwise I'd be sitting on product.
I just feel like you're so much better off going with either, something that Shabbat's doing, or even what Grover's doing for Friedman, or any number of, how about Bill Crook? Any number of these guys that are making Fender-esque product.
I agree.
They're
G&L.
making custom shop for 65% of the price.
Say that one more time.
Said with those brands, you're getting that custom shop quality, but for 65% of the price.
Right.
So I think
speaking
Fender's
of
custom
G&L,
shop right now is starting at like, I think it's over $3,000 street.
Yeah,
Starting.
that's nuts.
So for that, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of builders out there who can get you something for $2,200-$2,500,
Sure.
and it's going to be every bit as good, if not.
I mean,
some
we've
better
had
features.
G&L. We've had G&L on the show,
Right?
representative from G&L, and it's like G&L still can't seem to get it right by fixing that Strat bridge they use.
Not a fan of the Strat bridge.
Yeah, it's not good. It's an easy fix, and they don't do it. And it's just, there's so much laziness in the business of things are okay, and I'm happy with okay. Okay.
I mean, it would be so easy for any company to jump over and just start buying up Goto 510s, because that's a far superior bridge, and it's far better looking. But there's probably some people inside of that office at G&L that are saying, well, this bridge, this is the look of the G&L
But they
legacy.
can keep the look. But they can keep the look. All they got to do is those two hooks that hook onto you got to get rid of them.
Yeah,
so
but that changes the look.
No, I don't think it would change it enough to care. It's a useless bridge, and because of that, to me, G&L is a tele company.
I do, yeah. I like the ASAPs.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. I think of them as Telecaster makers. Their Strats are no good. Unless you get a hardtail, and then you're getting that big, bulky looking weird thing, which I don't care for that either. But anyways, have you tried any good pedals lately?
Have I tried any? Yes, I have.
Okay, would you like to discuss that?
Okay, so yeah, I got a couple of things this week that just so happened to be in front of me here. Go figure.
Wow.
This I'm trying. My lighting stinks. I'm sorry, everybody.
That is the Pathos by the Three Musketeers.
Tosin Abasi, his company, the Pathos. This is a very, very cool pedal. It's got a 3-band active EQ, so it's bass, middle, treble. And then it's got your volume, your gain, and then there's a voicing switch that's
not to disparage that
edge.
Not to disparage that pedal, but it looks an awful lot like a Wampler-esque pedal.
Well, Brian makes them.
Oh,
did you
there
know
we
that?
Go. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Brian makes these for
Tosin. I didn't know that. No, but it looks like a Wampler pedal.
Yeah, you got the inputs on the top.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's. I don't think it's an industry secret. I think everybody kind of that has known about this pedal knew that. But yeah, the one thing that's interesting about this pedal that I've got to say I was really surprised by it is the volume doesn't hit unity until you're like way up here.
Wow. What's that?
Yeah, once you're up here, you're at unity, and then it just kind of grows and gets dirtier from there. I'm not sure why the design was like that. And then the same thing, the taper on the gain control. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, totally.
The taper on the taper on the gain control is like, it's like really soft, and it purrs, and it sounds great. And then once you get to like this like 75% mark, it really starts to get chunky, and then through the remainder of that curve there, that last 25%, it can get really gnarly. But it's really cool how much you can kind of dial in like more subtle sounds with it before you get to like screaming gain.
Right. Well, maybe it has something to do. Maybe it has something to do with the signal pathos.
Stupid. Oh, that's awful.
Oh, it's rotten.
But it's a good pedal. It's really close to like an amp channel kind of feel. It's not quite there. Like if you're an experienced guitar player, you're probably gonna say, yeah, it feels like a pedal, but it feels like a really good pedal.
Right.
And then I played this one. This one made its way onto my board, and it's living there.
And that looks like an old Smith Corona typewriter. What am I looking at here?
This is a 1974 Dodge Dart.
It looks it.
It's really big. Comparing it to a typical size stomp box, it's enormous.
Yeah. Right.
But God, this thing sounds incredible. Oh man.
Excellent.
So this is a Diesel VH4 pedal, and this thing is so good.
Hold it back up. Hold it back up again. I want to see what it says. Treble, middle, bass, and gain for the top row. And then we have master, presence, and deep.
Right.
The VH4.
So this is supposed to be like mimicking the third channel of the famous Diesel VH4 amplifier. It sounds incredible, and it feels like an amp. Like I play it with my Dirty Shirley, and it's probably the only distortion pedal that I've ever played where like I'm using like the higher gain feature. Like I'll only turn this on if I've got my amp set clean. Set my amp clean, use this as the drive entirely instead of stacking gain. You know, normally I'll stack gain. Right. This one I'll use exclusively as like a channel all by itself. In our set, in my band set, we do like Cult of Personality, and we do a couple Metallica songs. And whenever we play those heavier songs, I'll switch to the clean side of the amp and just use that Diesel pedal, because normally my gain's more mid-rangey, more like 70s kind of sounding. Sure. And this I've got dialed like a lot more like metal. Right. And it absolutely kills. It's insanely good.
And what's the amp you're going through with that?
The Dirty Shirley.
Ah, the Shirley of dirtness. Yes.
She is a dirty, dirty little bitch.
Let me ask you, when you turn the amp on, do you go, hello, Cheryl?
So don't call me Shirley.
I remember Lenny and Squiggy?
I do.
Squiggy would always walk in and go, hello, Cheryl.
I don't remember him doing that, but yes, I do remember those. I haven't seen Laverne and Shirley since I've probably been in like junior high school.
Yeah, when it was on the air. No one's watching reruns of Laverne and Shirley.
I would if I could.
Right.
Now I'm motivated. But so anyway, this Diesel pedal is ridiculous.
Nice.
Kind of a big form factor, but it's like the only one of those really high gain pedals I've ever played where I was like, yeah, it's indistinguishable between this and an amp.
Now, I will say this, John. I recall in our conversation sometime last week, I thought you were looking at 3 or 4 dirt pedals.
I was.
And so 2 of them have made it to the point where you like to show them. I'd like to hear about the 2 that you had issue with.
Oh, well, I was planning on getting a Dracaris from Wampler, but they were out of them, so I didn't have an opportunity. So there's no knock against it. All
right, yeah, that's not a knock. That's unavailable.
Right. The other thing was the Diesel, the Herbert pedal, based on their Herbert amp, also insanely good. Really, really, really good. I just preferred the voice of this one better. The Herbert's more modern metal sounding. It's more punchy. It's got less mid range to it. Really, really good. if anybody out there was like, I want a preamp pedal for like a fly rig, I'm going to go into the effects return of like whatever I got to go and use at a venue, get one of those Diesel pedals. They're perfect.
And what does a pedal like that run? The Herbert or the 4?
I think they're like $300. It's $299.
So
but it's like it's
in the pricier range of a pedal.
It is.
Yeah.
But whoa, as Mickey Redmond, if anybody's a Detroit Red Wings fan, would say, "Whoa, baby!"
And the Dracar Noir, whatever the hell that pedal's called, I can't remember.
The Dracaris, yeah,
the Dracaris Noiris.
I think you have to be a fan of what's that? What's the HBO show about dragons and naked midgets?
Game of Thrones?
Right. You have to be a fan of that because I think there's some reference to that within that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there was something to do with it. I don't know. I watched like one season of that show and I didn't get into it.
I remember when he came out with the Dracaris, and I think it was supposed to be like a rectifier or that type of amp, but then what the hell's the triple rec?
Discontinued.
Oh, that's what it is. I'll tell you what the triple rec is. It's in a new black box called Dracaris Noiris.
Right, basically, probably.
It smells lovely, too, if it's 1982 again.
Right. Dracar Noir, slightly more affordable than the Calvin Kleinus. I got nothing.
Yeah,
nowhere to go with that one.
Yeah.
Dracar Noir, if I remember correctly, was like a cheap, like a knockoff perfume of some sort.
No, it was a high-end one. Are you kidding me? The cheap stuff's what I wore. Chaps, Stetson, anything you can find at CVS. I'm kidding, folks.
He's not kidding.
No, not at all.
I thought Dracar Noir was like one of those, I don't know, like...
It's the greatest thing. If you smell perfume on a woman, the best thing to do is walk up to her and go, "You smell great." Is that Anjali?
I don't know what that is either.
Anjali is like a woman's perfume that is sold at CVS for $3.
Oh, no. So you don't want to say that.
Yeah. Is that Jean Nate? Is that by Cody? God.
It'd be amazing if they were like, yeah, it is. How did you know that?
Right. Then you walk away feeling like a shitbag. You're like, oh, Christ. And she's saying to her friend, "See, I told you Jean Nate smelled good. You and your wind song."
Oh, boy. So I have a new feature this week.
All right. Ooh.
I have a guitar amplifier mic'd up, and I can't tell how it sounds.
That sounded like a little.
I can hear it. I can hear it through my headphones more than I can hear it in my headphones. So, is the tone good or bad? I don't know.
Sounds good. Play this time. That's what it sounds like. Dun, 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 dun.
What key does that? What key is
I think
that?
it's an A. I think it goes like A.
Like
right,
A to
the G, but the G is in the it's like a two-string thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know this one. Whatever it is.
Oh man, so I was listening to Casey Kasem last weekend, and he was playing this
Is he
year.
Still alive?
No, it was 1978. It was this year in 1978. They do the throwback shows, and Double Vision was like number 4 on the list. But they made a big deal of number 1 getting taken down by another woman, and the number 2 spot went to Anne Murray. I cried a tear. At which point I was arguing with myself if I should take the car and just crash it into a pole. And then the winner was Donna Summer doing MacArthur Park.
It's really wild that Donna Summer wrote a song about Langer's Deli right in front of MacArthur Park. That song had to have been about her eating a sandwich and then strolling in the park afterward, feeling good.
I'd honestly say she didn't write the song, considering she's probably like the 3rd or 4th person to cover it.
We got that? All right. MacArthur Park. You know, they pulled bodies out of the lake there in MacArthur Park.
Oh yeah. Someone pulled a hamstring out of the pond, and I
So
don't think I can make it.
so MacArthur Park, for those who don't know, is a park in downtown Los Angeles. And I think through like the 80s and 90s, it was like a real contentious spot for like gang violence sort of stuff.
Well,
So
it's
there
right
you go, a history
in
lesson.
front of Langer's Deli, which closes at 5, oddly enough. And when you ask why do they close so early, they say, yeah, you don't want to be in this neighborhood after 5.
Right.
That's the response that they told me.
We deal in corned beef. The rest of the folks around here deal in substances. That's all.
Yeah.
That's my joke. That's all I got.
No, it's a real bad area. In fact, the guy who was trying to steal my tires got run over by the guy stealing my car.
That's a great joke. Is that an old Dangerfield joke?
No, it's Jimmy Walker.
Ah, it's fantastic. That's funny. Jimmy J.J. Walker?
You got it.
Oh,
Followed
man.
by a dynamite.
So speaking of Langer's Deli, you mentioned that you got some food that you need to discuss.
Yes. Are you familiar with Barstool Sports?
Let me, before you get into this, just tell you how badly I want to kill myself because I'm still on this diet.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, then this
It's the
is not
worst.
going to be a good conversation.
I
for you.
can't. No, let's do it.
So
No, I'm not
Sports-
familiar with Barstool Sports.
Barstool Sports is a guy named Dave Portnoy, who's from Lynn, Massachusetts originally, and he does a blog where he talks about sports. He makes some really cool Patriot shirts, and they sell them down at the stadium. Anyways, about 5 or 6 years ago, he started making videos of doing these one-bite taste tests of pizzas around the country,
Okay.
which he gave Town Spa a 10 on first bite. And then he took it back because he was like, no, it's got to be a 9 because I like Monty's. But it was a 10. But the whole thing is one bite. Everybody knows the rules. And he goes around testing pizza and tasting pizza. It's great. So if you guys get a chance, go on YouTube. You want to see what a really good pizza, what I think looks great in my next pizza that I'm going to go try? Go look up Barstool Pizza, Sally's in New Haven, Connecticut. Just put that on the YouTube thing and you'll see him. He goes and, it's absolutely great. But it's hilarious because he constantly says, one bite, everybody knows the rules. Meanwhile, he's eating like 10 bites of the pizza before he gives a score. One bite, everybody knows the rules. He's great. But you get to watch he judges like so many different pizzas. Finally, he goes to like a Costco. He goes to all these different places. Reminds me a lot of Chris D'Elisa. And for those who don't know,
okay.
Chris D'Elisa used to be not the guy, but the fact that he goes and he's just loving all these pizzas. But he talks about something that Boston has that you don't really see outside of Boston, and that's a kind of pizza called bar pizza. You had it because you had Town Spa pizza when I ordered them frozen that time, remember?
Yeah.
And remember how it was
good.
a small personal size pizza? That's called a bar pizza. And there's probably like 10 places in Massachusetts that sell bar pizza. And every place else out here does the big Italian style otherwise.
Right, sure.
But so yeah, Chris D'Elisa was on a pizza tour one year. He calls me up. He's like, I got a 3-hour layover at Logan. I said, well, I'll come pick you up and take you to Regina's. So I pick him up to take him to Pizzeria Regina in the north end of Boston. But I bring a Town Spa pizza with me for the car ride. So we ate a spa pie on the way to the Regina's, 2 of the best pizza in Boston.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So folks, if you get the chance, you'll be addicted to his channel because he's really funny and it's good, called Barstool Sports, and it's Dave Portnoy, although in the beginning it'll say One Bite with Dave Page Views. I don't know why he changed his name on that, but his name's Portnoy, and they call him Portnoy. But he does it like he's got Gronk with him on a pizza one. He's doing one with Cena. John Cena goes out and does one with him. It's very cool. And
Nice.
it's an enjoyable show on YouTube. And I got the app. You you can then get his One Bite app, and then you can post your reviews of pizza near you. So if he's out by you, he'll go try something. If people rate a pizza place high, then he'll go and try it. But he only does cheese. He doesn't want to hear what you guys do great, what pizza, which I think is a mistake, but that's his rule. He likes cheese.
It's kind of the same thing as we're going to test all these pedals at noon.
Yes. Yes, I agree, because I think Town Spa's extra sauce hamburger, burnt edges, light crispy is the best pizza on the planet. Now, the cheese is a decent pizza, but the one I just said before. And folks, if you want to try the greatest pizza known to man, you can call the Town Spa Pizza in Stoughton, Massachusetts. They will ship it to you par-baked. You then put it in your oven. You want the extra sauce, the burnt edges, the light crispy. Well, the light crispy, you can do it on your own, but it's fantastic. But yeah, it's a great show.
So if he came to Los Angeles, I wonder where he would go. I feel like we don't have great pizza here. There's a couple of places where you can find one that's pretty good.
He eats with Henry Winkler. And Henry Winkler mentions a place in the Fonz, and he's dressed like the Fonz. And Henry Winkler's like, yeah, and I'm wearing green. But this guy's dressed in the Fonz's old outfit, tasting pizza in New York. It's genius. But Fonz says he likes this place in Brooklyn, and Dave is like, I love that place. So then Fonz is talking about some places in LA that he needs to try, that Fonz thinks is fantastic. And why am I calling him Fonz? It's Henry Winkler.
That's better to call him the Fonz.
Yeah, I think genuinely he is probably one of the nicest guys. And he just seems like a genuine guy. But yeah, he talks about
Klein.
I'm curious what he would think of. You know that pizza place that Delisa always posts on Facebook? Is it called Grimaldi's?
Grimaldi's, yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like, and I don't know if I'm wrong, is it a place where the cheese is the bottom layer and the sauce goes on top?
No, they do a traditional New York style pizza.
Oh, because every time I see it, it looks like just a pile of sauce on top.
Well, I don't know what Delisa's ordering, but when you go there and just get like their traditional pizza selection, because I've been there a number of times, it's what you'd expect. It's cheese on top.
Have you ever had that?
Oh yeah, I've had
reverse.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of the time, Chicago styles are done that way. So any Chicago style pizza I've had like that. But Grimaldi's, they're one of these places that like imports the water from New York.
What's that? There's another place, Damari's in Malibu, that does the same thing. It's right on PCH.
Yeah. So anyway, they do that whole thing.
It's D'Amore. Maybe it's called D'Amore.
Oh, okay.
Got to look it up, folks. Everyone look it up. I'm not doing it for you.
There's one on Main Street, Santa Monica, called La Vecchia's. It's pretty good.
I love La Vecchia. What I do is I order the margarita and tell them, get rid of the basil. So it's just a cheese pizza, and that's a really good pie.
You don't like the basil?
I don't need it. Nah, I don't want it.
But then other than that, there's a new joint in El Segundo, the Slice and Pint.
Oh yeah, with the shirt.
Right, my shirt. Yeah, they're associated with El Segundo Brewing, so they have great beer on tap. But their pizzas are really good too. They have like the right pizza ovens. They do them. They what?
I hear they have horrible bands there.
They have no bands there.
Oh, I thought that's what you.
I love the joke that you're going for, but no, we don't play there.
It's a shoot and a miss, folks.
Oh, good try. No, but they do like thin crust, and it always ends up with like the nice crispy on the bottom and everything. They do it really well. You know who was good for a really short time was the Abbott's. For a little while they were making a good pie, and then it stopped. I don't know what they did to change it, but like they had a window of like 6 months where their pizza was good, and then it was like, I'm telling you, it's true. And then after a while, I went back and I was like, what happened? You guys had it down with the crisp on it. This place in New Haven, Connecticut, Sally's, it's called Sally's a Pete's. It's a pizza is one word, and they pronounce it a Pete's. It's right next to Frank Pepe's, which is a world famous place in New Haven. And he rated it higher than, and it looks way better than Frank Pepe's. I've been there many times. But
People say, why have you been there many times? No, it's good. It's just not the best. But I got to get down to New Haven and try that Sally's. It looks really good. Then he says if anyone's in New York, he says John's of Bleecker is the best pie in New York City. And that's good to know what the best pie in New York City is. Folks, it's a really enjoyable show. Portnoy's funny as hell.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out too.
Yeah, it's really good.
You know, there's a Chicago style pizza that I'm trying to remember. I know everybody knows Pizza Uno. Then there's another one, another famous name, and it's eluding me right now. But I gotta say this.
There was Numero Uno.
Right.
There was Pizza Uno.
What was the one? There was one that started with a G, like Giamatti's or something like that. I think it might be Giamatti's. I'm probably wrong, but I gotta say, like 10 years ago when I used to go to Chicago.
Not Giardino's.
Yeah. That's it. Giordano's.
Oh, okay.
Giordano's is it. 10 years ago, when there was only a couple of them, they were really good, but now they're all over the city. Right. Last 2 times I was in Chicago, I'm like, I gotta go to Giordano's. I gotta go. And I went, and both times, I gotta say, I was like, this was a waste of time. Waste of enthusiasm.
Like that. So there's a place in Boston called Pizzeria Regina. There used to be about 10 locations around the city, but there's one in Foxwoods. And on the show, he goes to the one in Foxwoods with Guy Fieri. Notice I'm saying his name correctly because Guy corrects him on how to pronounce it. It's Fieri.
I could eat this pizza off my flip-flop.
So him and Guy go down there. They rate the Pizzeria Regina down in Connecticut as a 5.7. He gives it a 9+, the one in Boston. So the original one is really making good stuff.
Okay.
The original's what you got to do. You can't go. I'll tell you there used to be a pizza place. Well, there is a pizza place in Massachusetts called Papagino's. Papagino's at the height of their game was a little bit better than La Vecchia. Similar taste,
okay,
but a little bit better. Right now, La Vecchia blows it away. It sucks. That's what happens when a corporation gets involved. If they skimp on the sauce, you get extra sauce. It's like a normal sauce pie. You got to ask for double extra sauce. Yeah, it's no good.
If you by any chance been emailed by Reverb.com regarding this they just released an interview they did with Fender CEO Andy Mooney.
I delete every email from Reverb. Unless I'm ordering something, I don't want to hear from them.
Yeah. It's just...
What was the interview?
The interview is Fender CEO Andy Mooney on Ultras, on MIJ Superstrats, and the future of guitars.
Yeah, like he knows. If he knew, they wouldn't be out there trying to push it. He'd be too busy writing up sales tickets.
That's funny.
No, seriously.
What's really funny about it is the picture of him. He's sitting there holding a guitar, presumably a Fender custom shop guitar, maybe something out of Japan, I don't know. He's sitting there holding what appears to be a Pete Thorne John Suhr Strat.
Oh, really?
But it's probably a Fender.
Right.
You can't see the headstock in the photo, but I mean it's literally like 2 nickel-covered humbuckers, a Godot style 510 style tremolo, black top, natural wood binding, rosewood fingerboard. It looks just like one of Pete Thorne's signature guitars from John Suhr.
Right.
I mean, to a T. And it's funny because they're not showing the headstock. But anyway, he's the gist of what I'm getting from the article, the little bit that I read was that the quality difference between made in America, made in Mexico, and made in Japan is diminished. Okay, well, the advent of CNC and everything else, I'm sure we can all agree that's probably true.
Oh, he's saying that they're all equally good.
Well, he's just saying the quality differential is not quite what it used to be.
Yeah, but that's not something good. I agree with that to a point, but it's like, first of all, your fretwork at the factory is subpar. You're using shitty frets. Put some stainless frets on. Take a little pride. The fucking company has no pride.
If you're gonna stick with nickel, use something a little bit better. Use Jescar. Use something. But all in all, I prefer the stainless. But
look, Morgan which you are very familiar with, makes a PR-12, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many other companies make a Princeton knockoff that blows away Fenders?
There's probably a lot of little bitty baby ones that do.
What? I mean, just
I don't
even off
know.
the top of your head, Victoria, Vintage Sound Amps.
I've never played the vintage sound one, but I do trust your opinion on that.
What's the one down in Florida? There's one in Florida that they're all tweed amps. What's the name of that company? I can't believe I'm blanking on it.
I got no idea.
Oh, they're good. They look like Fender logos. Either way,
Like Milkman or whatever?
no, Milkman's another one. But the point I'm making is, why doesn't Fender say, why don't we try to boutique it a little bit? I mean, if Fender came out and said, here's our Princeton for $8.99 or $9.99, but here's like our whatever version of it for $16.99, and they went and they upgraded the parts and did some of the stuff that these boutique guys are doing, people would buy them.
They do it every few years, but the difference is they go, here's our standard Princeton for $8.99, and here's our boutique one for $32.99.
Yeah, fuck
it's just
them.
like,
Yeah, just idiots. Stupid.
we're only making 100 of these.
Right. And they do it to say they did it instead of to sit there and say in the marketplace, let's address the people trying to rip us off. Like, let's look at it. And that's why these CEOs for these companies are shitbags, because it's like, why not take people away from what they're interested in, instead of being like, oh, now we made a doctor amplifier. Here's an amplifier a doctor's going to want because his favorite musician, Eric Clapton, played a tweed. In fact, why don't you just call it the Oh, they did. Oh, that's right. But like Eric Clapton played this tweed, and we're going to charge it for $4,000 for it. And it's like, why wouldn't you just make one for under $2,000, but nice? Spend a little time on it. Do a little of the things that, that make it nice, and then be like, put the larger reverb pan in there. Do the things that these other companies are doing, and then be like, look, you don't need to go to Victoria. You can get that quality at Fender. Here it is. And now all the guys who are working players are like, I'll spend $2,000. I'm not spending $4,000, but I'll spend $2,000.
Well, the funniest thing about that is what you were just saying is, like, they're like, Eric Clapton plays this. We're building this one the same way that it was built in 1957. That's when you want the record to scratch. Wait, say what? So you're giving me a technology that you've been able to do with your friggin' eyes closed for 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that it's going to cost $4,000?
Yeah.
Show me where the value is in the components. Please tell me, God, please tell me that there's some value in these components. There's no justification for that price point.
No.
There's zero.
It's nonsense. It's for the doctors and lawyers and bragging rights. Instead of making a quality product. Now, listen, I'm not trying to give them any ideas. Obviously, you sell Morgan. But, Morgan wouldn't want to see that. They don't want to, even though they're comfortable at what they do, they don't want to see a quality, they're enjoying the market. I mean, those companies start because of the marketplace being what it is.
Right.
There's no reason for Dave Friedman if Marshall knew what the fuck they were doing. I mean, the vintage modern amp out of Marshall might be the best amp they made in 25 years. It could be. And what is that saying?
I don't know. I didn't like that amp.
Oh no, it was if you look at it, if you play it, it's better than what it is, because it's like they show it a lot of times when they do the thing, they have that knob pushed out. I think what the knob is, the mid boost. You put the mid boost in, it sounds right back to an old 2203 amp. It sounds great. But yeah, it's like Marshall, like the JVM, it's all shitty plastic parts. I hate the volume knobs on the Marshalls. And you look at the Friedman stuff and you're like, oh, if Marshall kind of had their shit together, that's what they'd be doing. They'd be making a dirty Shirley. But you got one guy who can make that decision instead of 15 guys sitting around a table with Victoria and she's going, what we did's been working. My dad made it. It's fuck off.
I mean the best decision they made in amp design in the last 15 years is this brand new studio series they're doing, where you can get a 2203 style 20 watt amp and a 1959 style 20 watt amp. 20 watts goes a long ways.
Sure, but what does Friedman make for the viewers and the listeners and everybody else? What does Friedman make in 20 watts? That's Marshall-esque.
A JJ Jr., which is a Jerry Cantrell model, a Runt 20, which is a PC board, more value model.
Sure, and nothing wrong with the PC board.
Nothing at all. It sounds
it sounds no difference
incredible.
in sound.
It still sounds like the BE100 if you ask me. And then there's the PT20, which is the hand wired version, basically.
Sure, right. So all three amps probably are far superior than the Studio Series Marshall.
My assumption is yes. I haven't heard the Marshall stuff.
Right. But I'm just saying.
I love the concept that they came out with and said, we're recognizing these famed voices that we're known for, rather than coming out with some garbage model that people aren't particularly interested in.
The only thing, but you're saying you are thankful they recognize the need for blah blah blah. I don't think so. I think they recognize the fact that the companies who are making better versions of their stuff are offering smaller amps.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know the logic.
I mean, how long has the Run 20 been being made? How long has that been in production?
A few years. I don't know exactly how long.
All right.
But I know the PT20's been made for at least 5 years.
All right, so there you go. PT20's made for 5 years. Marshall looks at his website and they're like, hey, we should probably make a 20 watt amp. He's taking our 100 watts. Let's take a shot at his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of how I think they run those companies. I really don't think anybody there is thinking along the lines of, what do we need? What could we be doing better? Because that would be, if they could sit there and have a meeting of what they could be doing better, they could erase the last 30 years of Marshall amplifiers.
Well, this is a great segue for something else I wanted to bring up and talk about gear-wise. Okay, so yeah, I wonder if in some of these boardrooms with the larger companies like Marshall and whatever, I wonder if they are saying what you just said. I wonder if they're also saying like Kemper is killing us or Axe-Fx is killing us. Guitar players are going more and more toward the floor and less toward carrying around an amplifier, especially in traveling and whatever. So enter Steve Fryette and the new LX2 power amp.
Whoa! What's
the power
Fryette working with?
It's his own brand, Fryette.
Oh, okay, Fryette.
So you get the LX2 power amp. He's also partially responsible for the Synergy power amp.
Okay.
But we're talking now about power amps for guitar players that are all tube, single rack space, 50 watts of stereo. They're using toroidal transformers instead of big giant iron ones because they're fitting it in a single rack space.
Didn't Mesa do this?
They did their 2020 in a single rack space.
Was it VHT? No, it was VHT, I think, that did it. It might have been Fryette in the past.
Well, I don't know if he's ever had a single space.
Yeah, it might have been a double. Well,
I mean, like I know his old 252 was like a 3-rack space. Then he had the 292s. Yeah, they've had plenty of rack mount power amps, but all of a sudden I'm seeing 2 power amps and like the Synergy 5050s. Sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
People are going toward 2 power amps to power these modelers or whatever, outboard preamps or whatever. But Fryette's new one is like 20 pounds.
Do you 50 think
watts
though?
20 pounds. Nobody's done that yet. That's refreshing. But I guess why I wanted to bring it up is it's like a recognition that like, okay, everybody wants smaller. So we're going to do something that's smaller that still is going to retain like that real authenticity or whatever, the whole tube thing.
Smaller and lighter. I watched a video where I had to hear the new Katana Mach 2, It's okay. I don't know. I mean, if you think about the board meeting, think about the one with Fender. How do you think the Ultra series came about? Do you think it was like, hey, people have really been bothering us for this? No, it's all about the bean counters. What they do is they sit there and they look at their line. There's 70 strats, or I think it was what number. At one point it was 75. Now it might be down to 69 or 70. It's around there somewhere. They have 70 strats, and they're like, well, the Elite series isn't really selling anymore. What can we do to excite it and ignite it? Because when at the end of the day, it comes down to bean counting, and that's all they give a fuck about. And so it's like, well, we'll call it the Ultra. They probably spend more money on the marketing than the salaries of the shitbags that came up with the design. Because anyone that knows anything about guitar, how about just keep the wheel on there, make the radius 10 to 14, put stainless jumbo frets, put a set of pickups on it that don't sound like shit, get rid of the S1 switching, and in general, just make a nice guitar. And put some colors on it that people haven't seen every fucking year. Doesn't matter what name you call it. Here's Texas T. Here's what Texas T is. Yeah, Texas T when it was what was that color called again? That black Montego. I couldn't sell Montego black to a guy who wanted a black guitar. The guitar looked horrible. It has like a brownish hue to it in certain light angles. Remember it came with that ugly pickguard too. Oh, that Montego black was horrible. Sienna Burst, another color I couldn't give away.
Yeah, that one was rough. You know, the new Shelby blue looks an awful lot like that midnight blue or whatever they used to call the Mexican standards.
It's probably what it is. It's exactly right. I don't know what was it called. Midnight blue. It was called like not Inca blue. Was it Inca blue?
Was it
that Royal? Was lighter.
Royal blue or just metallic blue?
I can't remember. Yeah, but anyways, it's like
was it jewel blue?
No. There's bean counters that are basically just looking for ways to redo a line that was designed poorly in the first place.
Yeah, they're probably saying like, we've got an end of life expectancy of 2 to 3 years on this product, and then they have whoever the guitar development person is say, you got to come up with something to replace this. Give us a couple new features.
Yeah, and they look at it and they're like, well, what do you think it is? It's because the truest don't want the wheel. Yeah, no, that's not it at all. There's so many factors to why people aren't buying the Elite. First of all, one with the bloviated price for not a lot of features. And, you can buy a Mexican Strat, go to Warmouth, get the right parts, the better neck, and make a guitar that plays better than a custom shop for under $1,000.
What is the what's my question? How many players do you know, like pro players, that use that noiseless pickup that they make?
Nobody.
I don't think I know anybody either. I don't think I know anybody.
They're terrible. I had a guy comment on my page. He's like, I like the Sumerian Cobalt pickups. So what? Then you know what? When you buy a Strat, right, so you're the one. Exactly. When you buy a Strat, you know what you can do? You can buy a set for $50 and put it in your shitty guitar. Who gives a crap if you like them? The masses don't like them. If they liked them, they would like them, but they don't. Every guitar they have with them always gets changed every few years because the sales fall away and they can't figure out what it is. But you know what? Somebody in the fucking management is sitting there telling them, keep winding those pickups, and now they have to shove them on something. Hey, where are we going to put those junk parts? Hey, we have a lot of shitty parts here. What are we going to do? I got an idea for the Ultra Strat. Get this guy a wire. Sorry, that's my midnight run.
I don't know why things like this happen the way they do. I often wonder if the sales guys are not reporting back truthful or objective data. I wonder if they're reporting back like, just the positive stuff because they're beaten by management into only, doing that sort of thing. I don't know. I say that because
Hold
just-
the phone.
I just wonder how it is that a company uses the same four colors over and 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 over. And you know how it is in this business. If you open a new dealer, if you're a Fender rep and you open a new dealer, the first question that new dealer says is, "Give me a list of your top sellers." So he gives them a list of the top sellers, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that everybody is always going to have black, white, sunburst, and whatever.
That is the problem right there with the business. If you're running a guitar shop and you say to the Fender rep, "What are your top sellers?" Quit. Get out of the business and go home. Guitar is not for you. Because these sales guys, I can't even tell you how many times they would come in and try to sell me a new lipstick shade on a pig. Oh, we have this Strat. This is called the Great Strat. This one comes in sunburst, Olympic white, candy apple red, and black. Okay, I don't want any. Are you sure they're selling like hotcakes? You don't have to worry about me not ordering them then because they're going to be out fast. Don't worry about me. I don't want any. I just don't want you to miss out. Yeah, I'm not missing out. Get lost. That's how I used to have to deal with the guys. And Bingham can tell you because he was there. And it's hilarious. We were so straightforward with people. I've seen Bingham tell a guy after the Randall amp wouldn't work. Bingham goes, "Get the hell out of here."
I felt bad for that guy.
Afterwards, not when it was happening. When it was happening, you told the guy to get the fuck lost. Days later, Bingham went for sushi. A couple of days later, he goes, "Hey, remember that guy yesterday I kicked out?" I go, "Yeah. Yeah, I kind of felt bad for a second. Yeah. Try the salmon." "Oh, yeah, right. Okay."
So the story behind that is the sales rep who was repping for Randall.
Yeah.
Came in. It was also the same company that was repping for Custom.
St. Louis Music.
The tuck roll amps, all
Wasn't
that
it
sort
St.
of stuff.
Louis?
Maybe.
I think it was St. Louis.
Yeah, either that or it was one of the jobbers.
Or U.S. Music.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Which one did Marshall go to?
U.S. Music sounds more right.
Okay.
But either way, so this guy comes in. This guy comes in one day with a custom amp he wanted to show off because they're doing custom, and it didn't work. And I was like, come back in whenever, whatever. It was like much nicer. The second time he came in with the Randall amp because they also did that line, and it also didn't work.
Yeah.
And then that's when it was just kind of like, look, man, you test your shit before you get here. This is not good.
Yeah. John's being a lot nicer in this telling of the story. He was basically like, "Get the hell out of here."
I was not. I shook his hand, gave him a hug.
You shook his hand and you walked away and you were yapping like, "Geez," laughing, going, "Get the hell out of here."
I would never.
I felt bad for the guy. I had to write him a letter. No,
I was very professional. No.
Oh, I'm not saying you weren't professional, but the bottom line is this is how the stores are run. People come in and the salespeople are going to want to keep pushing the shit on you. The problem with Fender and Gibson and these other companies is they can't wait to tell you what people want, and they don't have a fucking clue. They don't know. Gibson comes in and they want you to make a big order, so you sit there with a guy and you're like, "You know what I want? I want this, I want that on my wall, I want this on the wall." And the sales guy's going to go, "How are you?" No, he's going to look at it and he's going to say,
"Yeah, right."
He's going to look at it and go, "Yeah, that's not in stock. We can only ship to you what's in stock. You can't order something not in stock. We're not making it. Whatever's in stock's what you're going to buy." I'm like, "Well, who decided what to put in the queue of what you're manufacturing for everybody?" "Well, everyone gets the same shit." Well, that's exactly the problem. If you want to order custom stuff, you could order custom stuff, and that way nobody can shop you. I'm not worried about being shopped. I just want to have quality, good stuff on the wall. So if you call Fender, and I will say Fender's custom shop, they are some of the nicest guys I've had to deal with. I forget the guy's first name, but it was Elcourt.
What?
Was it? Remember Elcourt? I forget his first name. Was it Rob Elcourt?
Elcourt.
Yeah, I think that was his name. I can't
I
remember.
know.
Anyways, the guy was the nicest guy at Fender's Custom Shop. Always handled me great, got me anything I wanted, was quick. He was a great inside guy to deal with. The guys at Fender are nice to deal with. What happens is when you sit there and they come up with a new model all the time, you can tell it's completely run by bean counters. Nobody has a fucking clue what anybody wants. Oh, but they're willing to come into your store and ask you what people are buying and what they want. It's nuts. But you sit there and tell them, well, the Sumerian Cobalt pickups suck. No, 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 they're good. People like them. Oh, they do? Great. Then why don't you fucking sell them?
I have such a great example of this happening at my facility just last week, where we're talking about a new amplifier that we're talking about coming out with, and the boss is asking questions. He's asking, what do people want to see on this? And I'm giving my opinion, and the engineer is giving his opinion, and they're completely contradictory to each other. Completely. And we're just going back and forth, and the boss is the one that needs to make a decision, and he doesn't want to make a decision because he's like, look, you guys got to figure out what this needs to be. I can't be the one to make this decision because I don't want to put something out there nobody's asking for. And so it's a very funny thing, because if you are in that boardroom meeting, you are going to have people that are saying, oh, a lot of these old timers, they don't want, they want no spoke on their truss rod. And then some of the younger guys are going, no, I disagree. They do want the spoke.
Right.
It's going back and forth, and then somewhere along the line, they're making the decision, let's get rid of it. It costs us an extra 3 cents a unit,
Right. But what the problem is the guy who's saying they don't want the spoke, then don't buy that guitar. There's only 69 other different Strats than the one with the fucking spoke. That's
Right.
that's the mental problem that company has. Every
Absolutely
product
true.
they look, what do people want? They want this. And now let's make 70 different versions of this. No, they don't want that. They want a multitude of things, and you need to offer them all. Make your fucking C-neck little shitty guitars, whatever you want to call the American standard. Some people want a V-neck, like a big fat one, like a 56, and they want it with a 22 fret guitar. Some people, and they want jumbo stainless steel frets. And then some people want something completely different. If you have the ability to make 70 different models, all of them being the fucking same, then you have the ability to make 20 different models where they're all very different and can be addressed to another person. So you could actually take the market over. Instead, Fender's like, we're the name, we're the brand, we're big, but they do everything wrong.
There's a lot. And that, folks, is a lot to chew on.
Folks,
You're
for
listening
that-
to Guitar Talk with John and Dave.
If you're calling east of we should do a live show so we can take phone calls. If you're calling east of the Rockies, dial. Hey, let me know in the comments. Do you guys think we should do a live show where we have phone-in calls? I'd even love it just to see what pranks we'd get.
I think it'd be great.
If you're calling east of the Rockies, dial 1-800-555-1212. If you're
Do you think George Norrie would prefer his Strat to have the wheel or the traditional headstock truss rod adjustment?
Who do you think plays a better Strat, George Norrie or Art Bell?
Art Bell, for sure.
If you're calling east of the Rockies.
George Norrie seems like more of a Gibson hollow body kind of guy to me.
So I don't know what the hell. I'm listening to AM radio sometimes at night. And after midnight, they do this show where it's called, I don't know, Beyond the Something. And they talk about aliens, UFOs. It's the dumbest show I've ever heard in my life. The other night, they were talking about vampires and how vampires exist. And some guy was calling in, citing verses of the Bible to show that it's true.
Right.
He's like, oh, without a doubt, listen to this verse from the Bible. I'm like, oh, yeah. There's proof right there. So it's just, so I just want to say, folks, everywhere, there's plenty of stupid to go around.
It's excellent theater.
It really is. And Art Bell used to have all those people on that show, and Art Bell was loving it because that was I don't think he believes any of it.
Oh wow! So you came across a Bigfoot. Tell us about it. Right.
Yeah. Oh well, he was 7 feet tall. Oh really? I think the one that I saw was 8 feet. He just loves luring them in. It's like. All right, folks, we're going to call this one a show. This was a great time. Good talk for everybody. John, you had a good time?
Yeah, what I learned through this show is that there's pizza to be eaten.
Yes, everybody, please go check out Dave Portnoy's show, Barstool Sports Pizza Reviews. All right, very good, everybody.
All right, see you guys.
Very good.
You're listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John.